What up, y'all? DCFAYGOGUY 2021 is in the books. It's officially 2022. Before we dive into this new year, we need to go back and take a look at all the albums that I picked up for 2021. And my God, let me just say, it is a lot. I'm going to kind of pull this into frame the best that I can. That's the tip top right there. And my desk is pretty tall. I'm going to do the best I can to lift this whole thing up and show you guys. I bought a lot of CDs this year. Or last year, I should say now. I'm going to say maybe only half of that stack actually came out in 2021. The rest, they were old albums. I just expanded my collection. So we're going to dive right into this. I know a lot of people wanted me to do kind of an updated video showing my entire CD collection. Those videos are difficult to make. I'm not saying that I never will ever do one, but I started back in I think it was 2017. I wanted to start kind of doing a year by year pickups video that would just expand onto that. So you'd go back and you'd watch my collection video, and then each year after you have the pickups, just to kind of keep everything showing the update to my collection. But maybe one of these days, someday, we'll do an actual updated video to the collection. There's things that I have gotten rid of. There's things that I'm thinking about getting rid of. So that's not a bad idea for a video. But as of right now, we're just going to keep going with doing the pickups. So I'm just going to grab from the top of the stack right here. Maybe I'll try to pull this in frame a little bit better. You guys can probably already see the top of that one right there. But the very first album that came out in 2021 that I scooped up was Double Dragon. Awesome fucking album right here. Amazing. I feel like I didn't give it enough love when I did my top 10 albums of 2021. That particular list was based on what I listened to the most. When this first came out, I titled it Double Dragon as the artist. Obviously, Apple Music didn't recognize that because it's Buckshot and Kung Fu Vampire. Here is the the national release that you could get. This right here was part of the pre-order bundle if you got the 8-bit box set, which I did end up getting. So amazing fucking album. I love the energy of it. Very, very dope album. I'm not sure where the hell I'm going to stack all this shit out of the way. Maybe start the stack backwards over here on the other side. Then another one. Oh, I fucked up. I don't have all the CDs here. Hang on. I got to grab all these CDs. Okay, so I think in the past I've really kind of talked about how big of a fan I became of Mayday around 2018, 2019. Last year I finally went back and I bought their pre-Strange albums. So we have here the self-titled Mayday album. I'm going to try not to too much. The Thinnest Line, #1, which I didn't even know they still had physical copies of that. Technology and Stuck on an Island. All great albums. I had plans to drop reviews for all these in March of last year, but if you guys were around at that time, I was having issues with my computer, and actually we ended up upgrading to a brand new system courtesy of the stimulus check that was sent out at the beginning, or I guess I should say the first quarter. Yeah, let's say the first quarter of 2021. That all that money went right into a brand new computer, new microphone, everything. So it took a little bit to get back into the groove of everything. So in March, we did get Minute to Midnight. Absolutely love that album right there. It's a very good vibing one. It actually made it to, I think it was #3 or #4 on my top 10 albums of 2021. And again, that's purely by numbers of how many times I listened to the albums. So, I could go out and say, oh, this was my favorite album. Numbers don't lie, you know what I mean? I listened to it a lot. So, of course, we finally got ICP's House Party EP. This technically should have been a 2020 release, but they didn't get it out. You know, we all remember that fiasco last year of all the issues they were having with getting us our shit. So, did get that. I feel like I shouldn't show this one yet. It technically came out around the same time, but I didn't get my copy until later. I did my best to get these in order of when I received them, when I got them. And, a year is a long time, so it's a little difficult to remember. I had to kind of rely on Instagram a little bit. If you guys don't follow me on Instagram and you have Instagram, link is in the description to go find my Instagram. And if you don't have Instagram, maybe consider getting it and then following your homeboy. But I did post a lot of like the pickups that I got there as well. So I want to say I got this sometime in, I think it was April or May. So this is completely out of order, but I did get Yum Yum's lure in a physical form. I basically was able to stop harassing Roanbone to give me his copy since he didn't like it. Of course, the homie Freak dropped his EP, Terror Tape. I believe he has a new album coming out in 2022. Excited for that. I feel like he's not very well known. I think he should be more well known. But then people have been surprising me. I've been surprised by the amount of people that I've seen who actually love and fuck with Freak. He's a dope horrorcore artist out there. Moving right on along, this is the one that I was surprised I didn't see more shit for. Both from Juggalos and from the fans of MNE who maybe didn't like my review. I figured I would have caught more heat for this, but I did scoop up East Side Ninjas. I did it because I'm a fan of ABK and I still support ABK and Blaze Your Dead Homie. So I've really, a lot of people noticed in the review I didn't play anything from Twisted. So yeah, I don't know. I was really disappointed with that album for sure. Like, it was great going into it, and then like the second time listening to it, and then the third time, and it was just kind of like, it quickly became like stale pizza. You know what I mean? Like, you ever had leftovers, and by the second or third day of having the same leftovers, you're just kind of like, I don't want this anymore. That's kind of how that was for me. So I'm not sure exactly what it was, but 2021 was the year that I'd said for years that I was a fan of Collective Soul, but the only album I ever had by them was 7 Year Itch, their greatest hits album that came out back in 2001. So one of the first albums that I went and explored and then ended up scooping up was Dosage as well as Discipline Breakdown. These are both amazing fucking albums. I love the shit out of these. It's a little bit more mellower for people who don't know who Collective Soul is. I think a lot of people do. They were all over the radio back in the 90s. You know, songs like Shine, Where the River Flows, December was a big one. The World I Know, fucking amazing songs. But I ended up scooping those albums up first, and this is where things get a little mixed up a little. You know what I mean? Then we had ICP's Prom Night Massacre Reunion. That blew me away so much, seeing Ouija Mac. I went and listened to Dirtbag, and I liked what I heard. So I finally scooped up and started supporting some Ouija Mac. A lot of people, I said that I was going to go out and listen to more of his music, and I did. But my attention span quickly switched over to other artists. But he had my attention long enough for me to fully be like, I love this fucking album, and pick it up. But I have gone back and listened to like Wasteland and some of the other. I think it was Wasteland. I don't even fucking remember. And people are like probably pissed at me right now for dropping that big ass ball. But I did listen to a couple of his albums that came out before Dirtbag. The last two albums before Dirtbag. So I think it was Resistance. I don't know. I don't fucking know. And that seems so disrespectful as fuck. But you know, I kept going down on the Collective Soul train and ended up just scooping up their albums. And I went to a record store up in northern Indiana. I want to say the city was Logansport, I think. But there's a record store up there called the Record Farm. And they were a local record shop that I was like trying to support. So I went in there. I had them order some Collective Soul CDs for me, and while I was in there, I seen that they had Stone Sour, so I scooped those up because I like some of the songs off there, and my hope was to listen to these and like the rest of the album. So it was like one of those forced purchases to like make myself more of a fan of Stone Sour. I haven't really listened to those albums though, but I do know Bother off of the self-titled Stone Sour album here. It's a good one. And there's a few off of, what is it called? Whatever May, yeah. There's a couple tracks off there that I think is pretty good too. So I did scoop those up because I'd seen them and I was like, I'll just go ahead and grab these and see if they grow on me. Of course, for the April streams, you got the Furious edition of Fearless Fred Fury. Everything about this album is dope artwork wise, but musically, everything on here has basically already been released before. So, if you didn't get a copy of that, I would say maybe you're missing out. Depends on if you have Forgotten Freshness Volume 6 or not. But did get the Fred Fury Fearless Edition. Or is it the Furious Edition? I'm fucking up that name badly. But anyway, we continued on the Collective Soul journey. Ended up getting, this one is called Blender. This is See What You Started by Continuing. Then you have, this is called Collective Soul, which they already released a Collective Soul album back in 95. That was that blue cover. So this one I just kind of call Rabbit because it has a rabbit on the front. Afterwards by Collective Soul. And again, I was supporting that record store, the Record Farm. And while I was in there one day, they had Get a Grip by Aerosmith, and I scooped it up because this album is pretty significant to my musical history. Some of my earliest memories of music was my father having this CD and my sister loving the shit out of this for years. And this is like pre-ICP stuff, so this is another artist, group, band, album that she influenced me with. So, and then of course, finally, after years, Fear Factory dropped Aggression Continuum. And through Double Dragon, became a fucking fan of Buckshot, finally, after years of saying that I didn't like his solo shit. So when he was teasing and announcing that Cabal was going to be coming out, I scooped that shit right up. Became a huge fan of another great artist, which here in a second you're going to see. I ended up scooping up ABK's Lost Sessions of the Warrior Chief Part 2. I've tried to listen to this album probably 10 times and I always stop it. Like I said, this was around the time that I discovered Loki, so he ended up like outshining almost everybody around July. So I picked this up and I've listened to like the first 2 songs and then I always just ended up leaving it. I mean, it's scrap songs, so they weren't really like sticking out and grabbing my attention too much. So ended up jumping into the Oracle albums. This is like the dark edition, and I like this one better. I like this cover a lot more than the one that I think everybody knows. I don't know, I just feel like this one's doper because he's like there with the book on an actual, oh, I guess no, it's actually levitating. I didn't even notice that before. I thought it was like actually on like a podium or a lectern or whatever, but that's levitating too. And then I ended up getting the alternate dimension version of the album. I've probably listened to this 1 time through. Not a big fan of remixes. I'm not sure why I picked it up. I think purely just to support Loki. The Blood of Izu, hands down my favorite Oracle album to date. Eyes of Parasuva in close second place for my favorite Oracle album, which apparently Loki is not planning to do any more Oracle albums until Eyes of Parasuva becomes more well received. I can see why a lot of people probably don't like it. When I was first reaching out into his discography, people were suggesting all horrorcore stuff. So I think people are used to just horrorcore from Loki, but he's so much more talented than just horrorcore. So, of course, Metanoia. This is the album that actually came out this year of his that I got. This technically came out back in April, but I guess they didn't have physical copies for the longest time, and I one day was on Strange Music and seen that they did, so I scooped this up. A lot of people, I understand, did not care for this album. It's like a mix of, it's rap, it's a little bit of rock, and it's like, what's that, 80 something, it's like basically kind of like techno-y shit, like dubstep, that kind of shit, mixed in there as well. I enjoyed it. I actually thought it was very different and unique, and I didn't hate it. I'd be lying if I said that I hated it, because I didn't. Of course, we got some brand new Turncoat Dirty. James Garcia's Activated. again, I was surprised I didn't catch more shit for this one right here. A lot of people, from my understanding, didn't care for this album at all. It's a very different direction for Young Wicked. He's basically doing like a mainstream style of rap, which I stated in the review for this that the biggest reason I think I enjoyed this was because I am a fan of strange music, and I do feel like, and I still feel this way firmly. And I had made a comment about it. And he replied stating that M&E is like his home, his family, whatever. But I do feel like he would see better success if he paired with It Goes Up Entertainment, the subsidiary of Strange Music, just because, you know, I just feel like he would. That they're a better label for that sound, I think. But then I discovered a new artist, scooped up Gibby Stites. Again, a lot of people just did not really care for this artist. He recently revealed that he is no longer with M&E. He fulfilled his contractual duties to the label, and they didn't renew it. So I guess I can understand why, because I've seen collectively a lot of people say that he sucks, that he's lame, and yeah, he's definitely. I would definitely categorize him as an underdog, because I feel like he's talented, but I guess a lot of people aren't feeling that same way. Of course, Jelly Roll dropped a new album. I was a little hesitant going into this one because he had stated that it was going to be different, but I did like this album. This is the closest to country that I will get, aside from a couple of Boondocks albums that he's released, but I thought it was a really good listen. Then, of course, Ritz dropped a new album. And the cover really misled me, because I thought this was going to be dark. I thought this was going to be deeper than it was. And really, there's only like 2 songs on here. Technically 1, because I feel like the last track is the same song. It's just like a rock version of it. So I don't know. This is a great album, don't get me wrong. But I was disappointed that it wasn't themed correctly. Like, the album artwork, the name was very misleading. And I went into this with very different expectations. So I think part of that's because I love Self-Medicated by Jelly Roll so much, and that was beautifully and perfectly themed. That's kind of what I went into SOS expecting, and since that's not what I got, I was met with some disappointment. But again, it was still a really good album. Of course, Tech Nine dropped Asinine, and you probably can hear it. It's still in its plastic. Towards the last quarter of 2021, I got to a real bad habit of not opening my physical copies and just adding the digital copies onto my Apple Music. So maybe digital's slowly taking over for me. I don't know. I still plan on buying physical copies, because that's just me. That's how I've always been. But I haven't opened this, and I've said in the past that I really don't care to leave things sealed, and that's not why I've left this sealed. It's just the laziness of opening it and putting it on my computer. There's really no need to, because I have it through Apple Music. But that is a really great album, a great comeback from Interfere. I was a little disappointed with Interfere, and Nina was amazing, so I feel like he got very close to getting back to the level that Nina was on with that one. And of course, Yum Yum Bedlam came out. This album, absolutely fucking amazing. I don't know why it's not liked, but people like what they like. People don't like what they don't like. So this is actually the second copy that I got, because I foobarred with my Yum Yum Bedlam giveaway and gave the shirt away to somebody else. So I gave my personal copy of Bedlam away to kind of make up for it. Of course, went to Hollow Wicked, got the Hollow Wicked single, and I have not listened to this yet. I've heard that it's not good. So maybe that's what influenced me not to listen to it. I haven't really listened to it. I think if they release another volume of Hollow Wicked collection, you know what I mean, like a collection of the Hollow Wicked tracks, then I will probably give that a listen. But towards the tail end of the year, I was very on the fence if I wanted to buy more Loki albums, because there's definitely a lot that I wanted to get physical copies of. Let's Get Violent, American Monster, Chameleatic, Demon Days, Dedicated. Those are all physical copies I plan on getting from Loki. But I felt like I had been not giving enough love to Buckshot, because, again, Double Dragon, he won me over. If you guys haven't watched the Buck Snap video, go back and watch that. I uploaded that about a week ago, a little over a week ago, I think. but something happened with Double Dragon and I became a fan of Buckshot. I went back and listened to all the Underground Avengers albums, and his parts that before I didn't care for, I liked now. Something happened, and I can only describe it by the buck snap. So when Night of the Zombie came out, I scooped it up, and when I grabbed that, I went ahead and grabbed Helter Skelter the Hunter and Helter Skelter Hellion. He had one on there that has like all of them together, but that's like $90 some. And with the jersey bundles that he's been releasing for Turncoat Dirty, Cabal, Double Dragon, I've been like making my wallet bleed, and I wasn't trying to keep doing that. So I just grabbed the basic versions. I actually have the first one. I believe it's called the Hunter. No, that's the Hunter. What was the first one called? I don't remember, but I remember getting it one year when I bought one of the Underground Avengers albums. So I scooped these up, finally supporting Buckshot the way I should be. When Double Dragon came out, there was a live stream on Instagram with Kung Fu Vampire and Buckshot, and Kung Fu Vampire had made the comment that I was trying to get a copy of the Buck Fu Greatest Hits, or Greatest Strikes, or whatever. And I was kind of harassing Buckshot about it, and Kung Fu Vampire said that we need to get a copy of that for DCFAYGOGUY because he's got racks of your CDs. And when he said that, I went, because that was not true. I had a couple of Buckshot's albums, but they were basically freebies, not counting the Underground Avengers album. So like when that was said, I was like, oh, I really should like support him properly. So that's what I did, and unfortunately it took towards the end of the year to do so. I've just been very distracted with Collective Soul, with Fear Factory, with Loki, so I wanted to make sure towards the end of the year I was buying Buckshot albums. Mob Style Christmas came out, I scooped that up. I haven't listened to this yet. Again, I'm getting lazy with opening CDs and uploading them onto my iTunes. That actually hasn't come out on Apple Music yet, so that one needs to be uploaded onto iTunes. The brand new Hell's Kitchen, which is the official name of Turncoat Dirty and Buckshot together, which is dope. I like it better when artists give a name to their collab projects, groups, whatever you call it, versus the whole, like, the first Hell's Kitchen was Turncoat Dirty, Buckshot, Hell's Kitchen. That was like, it was kind of made it look like that was just the name of the album, but this kind of confirms that Hell's Kitchen is when they do work together, and I like that better. Like when Kung Fu Vampire and Buckshot do Double Dragon, if they do more albums, they are Double Dragon, not Buckshot and Kung Fu. It's Double Dragon. So I do like that they did that on that. And then of course the last one, and it's not on Apple Music. I got to open this up. Chris Calico's Wrapped 2021, 21. So that is everything that I have bought this year. Like I said, huge fucking stack of CDs. So 2022 is probably going to continue down that road. I know I did the same thing in 2020. I bought a lot of albums as well as in 2019, and a lot of it is buying old albums. I'm getting better about not sleeping on artists. So yeah, there you guys go. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time.